Hello and welcome to Game Week 8 Cartola FC. My name is Sean. Let's get into the week. Alright, so last week was pretty decent, 67 points. That was 14 above average. Did gain a little bit of cash, just 2.5. We did disappoint in the midfield. Colley and Vega with only just zero point 0.4. Arsketa came off during the warm-up, so he didn't even play. And then our bench option was Alex Teixeira, who got negative, so only zero point 0.8 in the midfield. However, Caleri scored. Hulk, our captain, scored as well. That was nice. We also had a triple clean sheet when Palmeiras had that 0-0 draw against Santos. And Bruno came in nice with a clean sheet. So it wasn't a terrible week for us. Luckily, we did avoid going with Cruzeiro players besides the manager. They disappointed the most with that loss against Cuiabá. So we're almost to 500 points, up to 264K, and it's decent, not quite as high as we'd like to be. I think the goal this season is top 10K. Matchups this week: Fortaleza, Vasco, Atletico Paranaense, and Grêmio are the first matchups of the week, so we will know those lineups. Particularly Fortaleza and Atletico Paranaense should provide some nice picks, and we will be assured that those players will start. Flamengo with a nice matchup at home to Cruzeiro. Flamengo did draw in the Copa Libertadores, so they'll look to bounce back. Sao Paulo with another nice matchup at home to Goiás. Sao Paulo scored 4 goals last week. They should have some nice picks. Botafogo, they won't have Chiquinho Suarez, but they are at home to a very, very desperate and struggling América Mineiro. And Inter, home to Bahia. Inter is disappointed. Atletico Mineiro and Palmeiras is probably the game of the week. However, for Cartola, maybe not so much. Tough matchup for both sides. However, that doesn't mean that we should avoid their players. There are some nice picks on that side. Bragantino Santos is another interesting matchup. Fluminense away to Corinthians. Both teams kind of struggling recently, so might want to avoid that matchup. Okay, XG tables, team attack, expected goals, the last 5 matchups, the last 5 games. Flamengo up top, over 2 XG per match. That's very nice. Botafogo and Cruzeiro still up there, along with Palmeiras and Fortaleza. At the bottom, Corinthians still struggling, along with Curitiba FC and Cuiabá. Those teams just struggling to create chances. Might want to avoid those players, even though Roger Guedes, if Corinthians was firing, Roger Guedes would be a nice pick this week. However, they are not, so we're going to avoid that team. On the defensive side, Palmeiras, very, very impressive, 0.56 XG conceded the last 5 game weeks, along with Atletico Mineiro. They do play each other. Palmeiras just had a 0-0 draw. Could have another 0-0 draw coming up. Could be an interesting match there. Fortaleza up at number 3 as well. Not conceding a lot of chances, even though they lost last week to a counter-attacking América Mineiro. Okay, on to player tables. We'll start with the center backs. So the columns, we have clean sheet percentage, the expected goals and assists per match, the price, minimum points to value, and their average this season. So up top, and this is sorted by XGA. And since these are defenders, XGA might not be the most important stat, but do include that, as you do want to have some attacking threat for your defenders. I know Botafogo and Sao Paulo have some nice odds for clean sheets this week, but not attacking threats, not the same attacking threat that, say, the Palmeiras guys have. So Gomez and Luan, only a 30% chance to clean sheet against Atletico, but they do offer a nice threat. So with a nice price. Minimum points to value is low. I do like Gustavo Gomez this week. He did have a little bit of an injury, but he played last night, so he should be fine. Otherwise, Pereira has scored 3 goals, scored last week, but too expensive, and the MPV is too low. Mercado did pick up a little bit of an injury for Inter, or else he would be a nice option. Nino on the road could be decent. I do like Brites for Fortaleza. They have a 45% chance. Beraldo for Sao Paulo scored last week. Has the highest clean sheet percentage chance, but MPV at 6.7. Low expected goal involvement, so I do want to fade Sao Paulo defenders and Botafogo defenders, even though they will be popular options this week. Okay, so full backs. We have some nice picks here. Marlon, the clean sheet percentage against Flamengo, very, very low, 19%. But he's a tackle machine. So against an attacking Flamengo side, he should continue to pick up a lot of tackles this week. And I do like him as an option. The MPV is much lower than last week, as he was a nice pick. But he did lose people money. This week, he has an MPV at only 4.7, and his average this year has been 10.1. No other fullback is close to that, so I do like Marlon as an option, not for the clean sheet, but for the tackles. Bustos, interesting for Inter at a cheap. Ayrton Lucas for Flamengo, decent clean sheet odds, very attacking player for Flamengo. $14 is expensive, but with players like Chiquinho Suarez out this week, I think budget's going to be less of a factor, so we can put money into the defense. So I do like Ayrton Lucas as an option with Marlon, even though that will put you back about $30 on the budget. Midfielders, we do have some guys below 0.25 XG. I do want midfielders with high attacking threats so far this season. Eduardo is going to be a popular option for Botafogo, but he hasn't quite put up a lot of attacking stats so far. Cristaldo as well. That does not include his penalty. But yeah, Cristaldo is on penalties. That should be noted. Other players, decent options, but I do like the other picks this week. We'll take a look at those. Almost went with Ioran last week. He did score, so it was disappointing not to have him. Still leads the XG tables by quite a lot because it does not include penalties, or else Vega would be top. I still like Vega as an option, even though he's very expensive. The MPV is low, so not a risk of losing money. But you can see his average is way above the others so far this season. Nestor for Sao Paulo is a nice option. Fortaleza should have some interesting picks, and we will know that lineup. So one of the downsides of Fortaleza midfielders is they have a lot. Pikachu, Hercules, Pochettino, Caleb. They just have a lot of options, so we don't know who's going to start, but this week we will know. And they do have some nicely priced options. Other than that, I don't really like the midfielders too much. That's why Vega is going to be in my team. Just don't like Eduardo's attacking threat so far this season. Okay, attackers. These are the guys below 0.5 XG, and they still include a lot of good options, actually. So, Cano, decent pick on the road this week. I would avoid Gabby with Pedro back. Still a good pick, but I do want penalties since Flamengo gets so many. So Pedro will be in my team. Daverson scored last week. Cuiabá has a nice matchup this week. Guedes, we talked about. Corinthians just not creating a lot of chances. And then we have some Botafogo guys. Victor Saw with Chiquinho Suarez out should be an interesting option. Lucero for Fortaleza, not creating a lot of chances so far this year, but he's a cheap price, and if he's starting, I don't hate that pick. However, let's take a look at the other attackers that do have a high XG so far this season. Moises, returner from injury for Fortaleza. Very high, low MPV as well. I do like him as an option. And he shoots a lot, 4.9 shots per 90. That is right up there with David Washington, who is also a good pick for Santos. They're on the road, but David Washington has put up a lot of shots so far this season, has scored quite a few times as well, and is only $5. So very good pick. I do like him. Otherwise, Caleri has a high MPV, but probably the best matchup so far. And Sao Paulo is clicking. They're doing well. I do like Caleri as an option, potentially a captaincy option as well. Vitor Roque for Paranaense is on this list. Very low MPV, so do have some options. I might fade the Atletico Mineiro guys, Paulinho and Hulk, even though they are in form, just because they face that strong Palmeiras defense, and their MPV is pretty high, so might fade those guys this week. On to goalkeepers, there's a plethora of options this week. Really up to you which way you want to go. Rafael might be the most popular pick for Sao Paulo. Very low MPV, highest clean sheet percentage chance. You can see in this chart the SPM is saves per match. The OSTPM is the opponent's team's shots on target per match. So you can see Jardim faces Fortaleza. Fortaleza has put up an average of 6.7 shots on target per match. That is quite a lot. And you can see Jardim only 23.3% chance of a clean sheet this week, but I do like him as an option just because he's expected to get, at least 5 or 6 saves, could be more. So that is a lot of points. And still, 1 in 4 chance of a clean sheet. So Jardim's kind of a high upside pick. And I will do the goalkeeper hack with him. Flamengo, some question marks on their goalkeepers, or else they would be a nice option. Santos and Cunha have kind of split duties. They've both kind of had injuries, but they're both pretty cheap, especially Cunha. So if we get word that Cunha is starting, I do like him as a pick as well. Lucas Perry for Botafogo is always a good option. So yeah, lots of picks this week. And overall, it's a pretty spread out week. There's not a lot of standout options. Let's take a look at my team. And you can see my team is spread out as well. So yeah, with not a lot of great options, Arsketa is injured in the midfield. Chiquinho Suarez is out. Hulk with a high MPV, tough opponent. This is a week where you can take chances on kind of players that, in the case of Vega and Gomez, those players would be locks most weeks, but in this case they're lowly owned, so it's a nice opportunity to pick those players with low ownership, even though they are great players. Marlon as well. Ayrton Lucas is popular. But yeah, you can see 8 teams represented this week. Should be interesting. Let's take a look at the bench. We have some Botafogo guys, Vasco, goalkeeper hack, and then Caleb and Lucero for Fortaleza to round out the bench. So this team costs $134.85. Pretty affordable, and you can also go much cheaper in the laterals if you wanted to save some money. So this is my team. Good luck this week, and I'll see you next time.